Hello, I'm Burt Goldman, the American monk, and this is the first of a series of fireside chats that I'll be doing. Today I'll be talking about self-esteem. So many people have a problem with self-esteem, how they feel about themselves. Ego, you might say. Let me define ego for you a little bit differently perhaps than you're used to. Ego is simply your opinion of yourself. When you have a good sense of ego or a good opinion of yourself, of course you have a strong sense of self-esteem. One of the problems with people who have a weak self-esteem sense is that there's an inequity in their life. They do not feel equal. And the way to feel equal with everyone is to see everyone as a human being, not as an engineer, a doctor, a king, a queen, a ditch digger, a homeless person, but a human being, because that's what we are. And when everyone is seen as a human being, everyone is equal. That doesn't mean that there are people who do things different than you do, but you do things different than them as well. You do things better in some respects than the Queen of England, than the President of the United States. Of course, they do things different than you. Some of the things they do are better, they do better than you do, and some not as good. That doesn't make them better, it makes them different. Everyone is equal, everyone is the same. When you have that attitude, your sense of self-esteem does grow. Now, these little talks that I'll be giving, only 5-6 minutes in length, there won't be a whole lot of time to get into them thoroughly, but I will attempt to give you the highlights. Quick story. One woman who had a problem with self-esteem and ego, and she was an executive in a company. You might say she was a captain of industry in a major corporation. She came to me because she had a problem. The problem was when she was sitting around a long table with the board of directors, she never opened her mouth. She was intelligent. She always felt she was the most intelligent one there, but her sense of self-esteem was lacking in that room. She had a strong opinion of herself, a good ego in other areas, but not there. Why? I asked. She looked at me and she said, because they're all giants, the people around the table with me. All giants. I looked at her and I said, well, what makes you think that you're a little mouse? She looked at me, well, I'm not a mouse. Well, you just told me you were. No, I didn't. Didn't you say that everyone around the board of directors table was a giant? Yes. What does that make you? She looked at me for a minute and smiled. A mouse? Yes, a mouse. Well, how do I avoid that? How do I get around that? Let me offer you a simple technique. Next time you're sitting around the board of directors table, get there a little early. Use the baga, as you learn. Touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Close your eyes for just a second, and then imagine, visualize all these great captains of industry, as you call them. Visualize them as the mice. Visualize yourself as a giant, a giantess, and see what that does for your self-esteem. Well, that sounds silly, she said. It's all metaphoric. It's a change of attitude. That's all that it is. We're simplifying a rather complicated procedure. Well, she did. She tried it, and you know it worked. And it can work for you too. Not that you are going to turn people into mice mentally, but once you understand the technique, you can utilize it to change your attitude, to change your sense of self-esteem. You are as good as anyone else because you are a human being. You're not as fast as a horse. You're not as strong as an elephant. You're not as... you can't compare yourself with an animal, but you can compare yourself with a human being. And there, you're equal. There, you're equal. So, strengthen your self-esteem. Now, this is just a series of fireside chats that I'll be doing, kind of extemporaneous. So if I make a mistake or two, you'll have to bear with me. But I'd rather do it this way. And if you have any comments, you're welcome to comment. If you want to learn a little bit more about me, just go to theamericanmonk.com. Thank you for listening. The next thing that we'll be talking about is, well, tune in and find out. Thank you. Farewell for now.